Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Allahumma sholli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Rabbi jidni ilman warzuqni fahman. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul min lisani yafqahu qawli. To Honorable Professor Ida Kaniawati, M.Si, as the expert examiner. To Honorable Dr. Diana Rochintaniawati, M.Ed, as the expert examiner. To Honorable Professor Dr. Nuryani Rustaman, as the supervisor. To Honorable Professor Dr. Widodo, M.Ed, as the supervisor. To Honorable Professor Minsu, Ph.D, as the supervisor. My name is Lilit Rusyati with the student's ID 1906999 from Science Education Study Program, Faculty of Mathematics and Science Education, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. In these occasions, I would like to share the research title, The Strategies for Building Students' Meta-Affective and Meta-Cognitive in Science Learning. The first one about the research background. The research background starts from the role or importance of the meta-cognitive and meta-affective in learning. Meta-cognitive can enhance students' memory and then dramatically enhance self-monitoring and critical thinking skills. For the meta-affective, emotions control can change the feelings, influence intrinsic cognitive load. But nowadays, based on the previous research, we can see students' metacognitive skills are still lacking, specifically their monitoring and evaluating skills. Students' attitude were still relatively low. Both male and female students have low-level ability in managing their angry feelings. And nowadays, we can see the research focus on only meta-affective and meta-cognitive. But the correlation between students' meta-affective and meta-cognitive is significant with strong value. Furthermore, based on the bibliometric analysis, by using Huggins, Publish, or Paris, and PostViewer with the database from Google Scholar for 10 years of research from 2010 up to 2020, there are 5 keywords that can we use. The first one, meta-affective, meta-cognitive, transformative competencies, and meta-affective training, and the last keyword, meta-cognitive training. And this is the example from the analysis. There are 2 in here, meta-affective training, results 415 papers, and for meta-cognitive training, 999 papers. To sum up, meta-affective skills, meta-affective awareness, meta-affective strategy, and meta-affective reflections go a long way with learning, teaching, and coursework. And meta-cognitive training focus on schizophrenia, both memory and achievement exist in this analysis. So we can see research novelty. The research novelty of this study combines meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies into one training unit, support the transformative competencies refer to the OECD Learning Framework 2030, and the last involve all levels in junior high school, 7, 8, and 9 grade. For the research problem, how effective is meta-affective and meta-cognitive based training for achieving the students' meta-affective, meta-cognitive, and transformative competencies in science learning? This research problem breaks down into 3 research questions. Is there a different kind of meta-affective, meta-cognitive, and transformative competencies in groups of students who are given separate training and integrated training in meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies? For the research objective, to analyze the effectiveness of meta-affective and meta-cognitive based training for achieving the students' meta-affective, meta-cognitive, and transformative competencies in science learning. There are 4 limitations of problem. The first one, the strategy. Thus, the strategy used in this research is meta-affective and meta-cognitive based training. There are 2 types of the training. The first one, integrated, and second one, spread training. The second one, but the meta-affective. For this research, focus on affective awareness and affective regulations. But the meta-cognitive focus on cognitions, regulations, and knowledge. And the last, for the transformative competencies, there are 3 competencies based on the OECD Learning Framework. Number 1, creating new value. Number 2, reconciling tensions and dilemmas. And the last one, taking responsibility. For the research methodology, we focus on mixed methods, specifically by using embedded design, This is gathered simultaneously or sequentially quantitative and qualitative data. For the sampling, we use convenient sampling. This is non-random sampling methods based on the availability and willingness to participate in the study, who are conveniently available and reachable at the time. There are 100 students participate in this study, consists of 7, 8, and 9 grades. And for the last, about the science learning, for the science learning, this is not specialized in one area of the science study. This research in line with the school standards and the implementation and syllabus. And this is also based on the approval and willingness of the principals and teachers. So in the research period, students learn about the force, light and optics, and soil. But the research instrument, there are 3 types of the research instrument. The first one, questionnaire of meta-affective. The second one, questionnaire of meta-cognitive. And the third one, questionnaire of transformative competencies. Before we come to the real research, we have all the tests by expert judgment and student testing. The first one, questionnaires of meta-affective and meta-cognitive. Same with the student, the number of the student, 934 students from 14 cities from 7 provinces in Indonesia. But for the questionnaire of the transformative competencies, we use 445 students from 9 cities from 5 provinces in Indonesia. Based on the Winstead-Ross model and IBM SPSS statistic 25, there are 3 types of the reliability. The first one, person's reliability, the second one, item reliability, and the last one, Crombie alpha. Based on statistical and also Ross model, we can see all questionnaire in acceptable category based on the reliability index more than 0.8. For the research procedure, this is breakdown from the embedded design. For the qual before interventions, we survey to the students. For the quant pre-measure, pretest by using questionnaires. For the interventions, by using meta-affective and meta-cognitive based training. There are 2 types of the training, integrated training and spread training. Integrated training, students receive assistance from teacher, and spread training, students implement independently. While during interventions, student feeling, learning, and emotions journal. Quant post-measure, post-test by using questionnaire. While after interventions, teacher interview, and the last interpretation based on qual result. By using IBM SPSS statistic 25 for the quantitative data and triangulation for the qualitative data. For the quantitative, by using questionnaires data, and for the qualitative, by using student journals, teacher interview, and learning video. The next about the research procedures, we have 9 meetings for the research period. The first one, meeting 1, in integrated training, teacher training by researcher, part 1, and for the spread training, students training by researcher in grade 7, 8, and 9. For the meeting 2, teacher training by researcher, part 2. Meeting 3, for both classes in integrated and spread training, do pretest. Meeting 4 up to 7, science learning based meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies. Meeting 8, post-test, and the meeting 9, students verifications by researcher in integrated training and teacher interview by researcher. And in spread training, students verifications by researcher. And during research period, student feeling, learning, and emotions journal. For the meeting 1 and meeting 2, this is focused in teacher training and student training. In meeting 1, teacher training and student training give the same topic from researcher, training from the researcher, and the content is how the meta-affective and meta-cognitive can implement in science learning. And for the meeting 2, in teacher training by researcher part 2, this is discussed but lesson plan with meta-affective and meta-cognitive based strategies. The lesson plan, this is belong to teacher, but teacher only input 10 indicators of meta-affective based strategies and 10 meta-cognitive based strategies. The results and discussions, there are 3 big ideas of the results. The first one, the effect of integrated training and spread training on students' meta-affective. Based on the statistical testing, both integrated and spread training did not have a significantly different impact on students' meta-affective. There are 4 factors analysis. Number 1, the training has not sufficiently developed students meta-affective. The second one, meta-affective takes a long time to develop. Number 3, students are unfamiliar with the use of meta-affective strategies in learning. Students face the challenge of self-regulation. But based on mean, we can see in integrated, there is decrease, but in spread training, increase. Based on mean, we can see spread training group is better than an integrated training group. This is in line with the independent learning with the previous research. The second one, the effect of integrated training and spread training on students' metacognitive. Previous, we can see not significantly. And also for the number 2, students' metacognitive, both integrated and spread training did not have a significantly different impact on students' metacognitive. There are 3-factor analysis. Number 1, metacognitive development requires time. The instructions has not significantly increased students' metacognitive capacity. And the last one, self-control is a struggle for students. But for the mean, both integrated and spread training on students' metacognitive have increased. So we can analyze in integrated training. This is in line with the predominance of cognitive instructions and assessment. And for the spread training, the ease with which student can identify and control. The last one, but the effect of integrated training and spread training on students' transformative competencies. In line with the students' meta-affective, the statistical testing describes that both integrated and spread training did not have a significantly different impact on students' transformative competencies. There are 3-factor analysis. Number 1, the training did not emphasize altering mindset. Self-reflective change has not taken over in training. And the last one, training has not yet included shared experience or practice, merely knowledge and regulations based on student perspectives. In line with the students' meta-affective, there is decrease in integrated training, but increase in spread training. So we can see on students' transformative competencies, the spread training group is better than an integrated training group. This is in line with the learner autonomy. The next about the qualitative data supporter, there are 3 sources. The first one, student journals, and the second one, teacher interviews, and the last, learning videos. And 3 sources of the qualitative data has been analyzed by using 3 emulations. This is loophole or double check sources of information that are corroborated or contrasted and causally related. For example, in journal, we ask students to write down 3 key ideas from these relations. One group students say about relate with the content, for example, homosexual bedrock and so on. But another group write down about the life, feelings, actions, honestly, knowledge, serious, and so on. So this is the researcher initial intentions in asking question. Ask students to write down about the concept, relate with the content, but the like and optics, force, and soil. But students also write down about their affective. So this data can prove the meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies have reached students. And also this is clarified by teacher interview. The teacher feels more connected to the student based on their experience by using meta-affective and meta-cognitive based strategies in their teaching. They say feels more connected to the student and then allows the teacher to understand and adjust the way the material is delivered so the students are not bored or overburdened. And the last, teacher know more about students' interest in learning and how students learn. Conclusions, meta-affective and meta-cognitive based training provides little effectiveness for developing students' meta-affective, meta-cognitive, and transformative competencies. But we can see there is improvement in each training in different dimensions. But the recommendation for the research, science teachers should keep including indicators of meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies in their lesson plan and then conduct extended workshop with the participating science instructor, especially incorporating a teaching simulations or peer teaching with the insertions of indicators of meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies. And this research design include testing on students' conceptual understanding of the science issue being studied. And our research have been published, and the total, there are 11 articles and 3 achievements as the best presentations, best presenter, and best paper. Thank you very much for the attention. I'm waiting for the recommendation. Thank you, Professor Nuryani.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Lilit. So now it's time for us to question and answer. So for the first, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ida Kaniawati, M.Si, to ask question to Ms. Lilit. Please, Bu Ida.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nuryani. Ibu, Ms. Lilit can share the slide.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. For the research question. The research question. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, the first question about what is the differences? This is the research problem. How effective is meta-affective and metacognitive based training? What is the differences of the meta-affective and metacognitive based training? Can describe about that? What kind of the training?
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Ida, for the question. So the question is, what's the difference or what's the meaning of the meta-affective and metacognitive based training? So the training, this is focused on how the implementations of meta-affective strategies and metacognitive strategies into learning. The first one, about the meta-affective, based on the literature review before, we can found 10 strategies, Profida, 10 strategies belongs to meta-affective and 10 strategies belong to metacognitive. And 10 strategies of meta-affective and metacognitive combined in one training. And the training, this is focused on science learning. So for see which one the effectiveness, the integrated or spread with the science learning, 10 meta-affective, 10 strategies of meta-affective, and 10 strategies of metacognitive insert in lesson plan by teacher for integrated training. So the lesson plan, this is belong to the teacher. The teacher only insert 10 meta-affective strategies and 10 meta-cognitive strategies into their lesson plan. For the
thank you.
Model.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All the training that objective is achieving the student meta-affective, metacognitive, and transformative competencies. 3 variables. Can you describe about the 10 activity of the training? How to develop the training with the 10 activities?
Thank you so much for the question, Prof. Ida. This is related with the implementation, how the implementations of meta-affective and metacognitive strategies. May I share the slide number 10 here? You can see this is sorry, excuse me. This one. This is the 10 strategies focused on, in the yellow one, this is focused on meta-affective strategies. There are 10. We give the code M.A.B.T, M.A for meta-affective. For example, ask students to identify their feelings, ask students to look at themselves, and so on, up to M.A.B.T 10. And this is 10 strategies of the meta-cognitive M.C.B.T. We give the code M.C.B.T, metacognitive. For example, discuss about how do students live a happy life. 10 meta-affective strategies plus 10 meta-cognitive strategies. This is insert in lesson plan. Based on the lesson plan, we have 3 activities: opening, main, and closing. So this is the example from researcher. But for the real implementation, this belong to teacher. which
Okay.
which strategies can insert in main, which strategies can insert in closing and opening. So this is only example. And the second training, the researcher and teacher discuss about the lesson plan with the inserting 10 strategies of meta-affective and meta-cognitive. And this is for the implementations, while teacher share about the content science, for example, but the science content, and then teacher asks about the conditions of the student, for example, how is your life today, for example, in the opening, and then in the main, for example, after discuss about the soil, for example, teacher, for example, ask student to write a list of the things they like about themselves. This is for the affective. Now, so for example, give a few tips about the active listening. So this is for the implementations. Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. There is the module for teacher and module for student. Can you describe what is the module kind, and how the student can approve about the three variables with the module?
Okay. Thank you so much for the questions, Prof. This is related with the module. There are two types of the modules. The first one module for teachers, and the second one module for students. The component basically same. The components basically same because this is the informations related with the meta-affective and meta-cognitive. Meta-affective, what's the meta-affective? The compositions in module is what's the definitions of the meta-affective. And there are two dimensions of meta-affective. For example, affective awareness and affective regulations. And what's the thing of or the strategy and affective awareness? What's the thing in affective regulations? And also in meta-cognitive, there are two dimensions, knowledge of the cognitions and regulations of cognitions. And what's the part of each dimensions? This is already explained in this module. So module give the informations, what's the meta-affective and meta-cognitive based on the literature review, based on the previous research, and discuss this module also give some tips or strategy how to implement the meta-affective strategies and meta-cognitive strategies during science learning.
Okay, thank you. Miss Lilit, can you show me about what kind of the lesson plan after the training, teacher training?
Okay.
Yes.
This, thank you so much, Professor Ida, for the questions. This is related with the implementation, the real implementation of 10 meta-affective and meta-cognitive in lesson plan. Okay, sorry, in this slide, this is not available, but in the appendix, for example, in page 330, 337.
Yeah.
337. This is to be appendix 34. This is based on the lesson plan. Lesson plan that has already inserted by 10 meta-affective strategies and 10 meta-cognitive strategies. For example, this is a lesson plan for the 7th grades with the 4th, and then 45. This is 8th grade for the light and optic. And the last.
Okay. How the researcher make sure about the lesson plan?
Okay,
there is some rubric.
Okay, thank you, Professor. For the proof, this is the lesson plan can available or no for the real research. This is in the meeting 2. So meeting 1. In meeting 1, researcher given the teacher training. This is discuss about the whole information related to the meta-affective, meta-cognitive, what's the dimensions, what the indicator, how to implement. And then in 1 week, teacher try to insert the 10 meta-affective strategies and 10 meta-cognitive strategies into their lesson plan, and lesson plan belong to school, belong to teacher, not request by researcher, but the request by researcher only insert 10 meta-affective strategies and 10 meta-cognitive. In meeting 2, researcher also doing a Zoom, online meeting by Zoom. This is to prove the lesson plan has already inserted or not yet.
Okay.
This is to check one by one. For example, in Meta-Affective, there are M.A.B.T.1, M.A.B.T.2. And then in discussion, one by one, teacher share. In this my lesson plan, for example, M.A.B.T.1 insert to the main. But another teacher, M.A.B.T.2. For researcher, specifically for researcher, I have already checked one by one. That should be 10 meta-affective strategies available in one lesson plan, and also 10 meta-cognitive strategies to prove this has already meta-affective and meta-cognitive based teaching.
Thank you. This slide, in the end of the column, if yes, how many times? Why asking about the times? How the quality of the action? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ida. And actually, this is the how many times. This is comes from when we discuss with the teacher in the second meeting, and then they share opinion. I think from the teacher, I think these strategies can give more than one miss. For example, the teacher asked about this. Oh yeah, for example, the teacher gave opinion M.A.B.T.1 ask students to identify their feelings. Teacher, based on our discussions in meeting 2, share about they think M.A.B.T.1 can share more than one during one period of the learning. For example, based on the content. So I add in here, if yes, how many times? So we can see in the end, we can calculate which strategy can share easiest from a teacher.
There is the frequencies.
Yeah, frequencies.
The unit analysis is frequencies. Oh, okay. Okay. The next question about the spirit training. Can you describe a student training by research?
Okay. Thank you, Professor Ida. The next questions relate with the spirit training. Before discussions relate with the integrated training, and one group focus on spirit training. Spirit training, that means students independently implement the meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategies. So the starting point is same. Researcher come to the class. This is online class in 7, 8, and 9 in one period to period 100. And then researcher and teacher also in here. Researcher give the information about the meta-affective strategies and meta-cognitive strategies. To prove the student, this is already known, what's the strategies of the meta-affective and meta-cognitive. Researcher ask the student to share. For example, when the strategies about the give the types about the tips, the tips of to be the active listener. So how about your strategy? The researcher asks one by one to prove 10 strategies of the meta-affective and strategies of meta-cognitive has already known by student, and they be ready to implement in science learning.
There is the content based on the curriculum, the science learning based on, what is the topic?
The topic, actually, this is not specifically topic. We follow the learning period in school based on the principles and teacher willingness, and in research period in 7, force, in 8, light and optics, and 9, soils, Prof. Ida.
based on your research, the lesson plan.
Lesson plan,
okay.
yeah, the lesson plan is related with the topic in grade 7, 8, and 9. Hello, Prof. Ida.
Looks like she's
please.
losing connection.
Actually, I couldn't hear the question of from
Ida?
Prof. Ida. Yeah, the last question. Some would
The teacher.
Ida, I'm really sorry. I think your connection is not stable. So
Okay.
may you share the questions?
Would you please the last question? Give again the last question, Prof. Ida. The
Yeah,
last question is
Bu Lilit.
related to content and curriculum.
Hello,
Hello,
Ida?
Prof. Ida.
Ida?
Freezing.
Freezing.
Ida? Ida? Or maybe we can continue with the next examiner, Bu Nur. Then we back
Yes.
to the...
I'm sorry.
Oh, Bu Ida,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Miss Lilit, can you
Nah, hilang lagi.
Yeah.
Bu Ida.
Bu Nur, I think we can next move with the next examiner.
Okay, yeah. Thank
Go
you.
back to Ida later on.
We postpone later, yeah. For now it's the turn for we invite Dr. Diana Rochintaniawati, M.Ed, to give question and comment. Please, Ms. Diana.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Nur. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Prof. Ari, Prof. Minsu, and Ms. Lilit. I will not give you questions, but I want to clarify some of the writing in your dissertations. Let me see the research brochure. Bu Lilit, can you show me the first slide of research? Yeah. Okay. Research procedure first. Yeah, the 10 meta-affective and 10 metacognitive. I want to see that the table. Yes. Okay. Referring to your research questions, the first and the second and the third, you mentioned about what kind of meta-affective, what kind of metacognitive, isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm expecting in your chapter 4 that I will find the difference of these strategies, yeah, between the integrated and separated training. But in fact, I didn't find it. So it is also related to your research hypothesis. So let me see the research questions. What kind of meta-affective? Yeah, is there a different kind of meta-affective? So kind here is referring to the strategy of the training, or the 10 strategy of meta-affective, the 10 strategy of metacognitive, and the strategy of transformative competency. Because I in my expectations that I would find there are 10 meta-affective that the types or that tense is different from the results is different between integrated and separated. But in fact, I see the whole strategy that's influenced to meta-affective, the whole strategy of influence to metacognitive, yeah. So would you explain that research questions and also the results? And also this is will be related to your operationally definitions. I didn't find that what is the definitions of kind in your research question. Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dr. Diana, for the confirmations about the research questions. This is the term kind. I mean, this is the different kind that's related with the statistical testing. Dr. Diana.
This is related to the strategy of integrated and separated, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So, in my opinion, you should change these research
The kind.
questions. What?
okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't know with the supervisor, with the promoter. But for me, as a reader, so I would like to get easy quick answer. If you say that, is there any different results between integrated and separated training, right?
Okay.
That's also I
Sure,
find
sure.
in chapter 4. In chapter 4, I find that the integrated and separated is different results. Although the result is not significant for both of the strategies.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Professor.
Yeah. If you ask about this, you have to answer about that. In Meta-Affective, there are 10 strategies that which strategies that's mostly related to the competency of Meta-Affective, and also with the metacognitive. Because I'm really sorry because my thought is very simple, yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dr. Diana. So the feedback is in the research question make clear, because I mean this is different kinds related with the statistical testing. So I would like double checks for the sentence. And the next about in chapter 4, but the effect of the meta-affective and metacognitive strategies in separate and integrated. In the recombinations, we can elaborate which meta-affective strategies, intent strategies, and which metacognitive strategies the most influence into the results. So we can elaborate.
Yeah.
Chapter 4.
Okay. Or you can just say that, is there any difference of meta-affective? Yeah, in separated or in integrated too. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for the feedback.
So it's also if those questions are raised, so it's in line with hypothesis that you can see in your statement in hypothesis. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then in page 14. There is a repetitions of the sentence. In page 14, there is the sentence, the method that can be carried out in-depth interview, blah, 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 yeah, based on radon for each individual set. Is repetitions in the first paragraph and the second paragraph. You may check page 14 for your dissertation.
Thank you so much for the feedback, Ms. Dr. Diana. I would like a double check about the repetitions of the sentence.
Did you find it?
In page 14.
Page 14,
second
paragraph, first paragraph and second paragraph.
The first paragraph, but the balance
at the end of the first paragraph, if I'm not mistaken.
May I share but I cannot find about the repetition, Ms. Dr. Diana.
Really? Okay, you may check in my I put the mark in your file, yeah. You may check it. I can give you in
advance
from my file.
Oh yeah. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
Hey, I have already found in the first paragraph, the sentence 1, 3. In the sentence 3,
yes,
the learning method can be carried. It's in-depth interview. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And the same with the first sentence in the second paragraph.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dr. Diana. Thank you.
Yeah, and then for the limitations of the problem, since you're asking the questions about which one is there any difference? Yeah, the results of meta-affective in the integrated on the separated. So also you have to explain or to put in the definition operationals. Actually, I give wrong comment on this because I also give wrong interpretations of the kind in your questions. So for me, your definition operationals must be explicitly telling the research questions. Yeah. So if you say that it's separated and integrated, so types here is referring to integrated and separated. Yeah.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
and then page 14. In page 14, can you referring to page 14? Can you go to the page 14?
Yes.
Transcript
The file.
detail. Can you find the word transcript detail? What was seen, heard, and not heard?
Yeah. Yes.
I miss the words of transcript here. What is the meaning of transcript in this sentence?
Okay. Thank you. So in the page 14, in the second paragraph, there is sentence related with the transcript detail, what was seen, heard, and not heard. This means, this is a transcript related with the meta-affective and meta-cognitive indicators.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's better to put that the explicitly the meta-affective and meta-cognitive indicators, yeah?
Okay. Thank
Instead
you.
of transcript, so it's going to be easier to read.
Okay.
And in the methodology, you didn't mention about how many credits that the teachings run. So I think that you have to put how many hours for this teaching, go with the integrated or separated. So we may see that because your result said that no, it seems that meta-affective and meta-cognitive should be take long time, right? So
Yes.
in 2 credits hour is not enough to for the students to have those strategy with your training.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so
put
much.
it in methodology for the credit hours.
The period.
Okay.
The learning
And
period.
then in I didn't know which page is it. There are subdimensions of metacognitive. You said that 8 dimensions of metacognitive, but you put 10 strategy of metacognitive. So what is the difference between subdimensions here and also the 10 strategy of metacognitive?
Okay. Thank you so much for the questions, Ms. Dr. Diana. So based on the literature review for the metacognitive, we have 2 dimensions related with the knowledge of dimensions and the regulations of cognitions, which mean for the each knowledge of cognition, there are 3, and for the regulations of cognitions consist of 5. That means there are 8 sub-dimensions from the knowledge of cognitions. This is based on the analysis by previous research and based on the prior researcher. There are 2 dimensions and 8 sub-dimensions. But in this research, we break down into 10 strategies. That means 1 sub-dimensions based on the previous need to elaborate more in several strategies in teaching, learning, in implementation. So we add more. Okay, that's clear. Thank you very much. And then go with the next clarifications. Table 4-27 to table 429. I think that the student answer is not come from the similar topic. So you just put this is the topic of this one and this is the topic of this one. So it's just not it's not similar. Yeah, so I suggest you to put the similar topic so it's very easy to read it. Can you find it? Yeah. This is related with the qualitative data in
Yes.
chapter 4.
Mhm.
I have already made two table based on integrated spreading, but
Yes.
in mixed content, science content, like
Mhm.
soil, like an optics. And for the suggestion for Ms. Dr. Diana, we have already we need to elaborate which student respond based on the for example related with the soil topic,
Yeah.
which one to be like, so we can make clearly.
Mhm.
Okay, thank
So
you.
this is like to be put in the same line, the same row. Yeah. So it's just
Ah,
like this is integrated, it is separated, the same topics with the same row. But sometimes you put in the different row for the topic,
Okay.
right?
Thank you so much for the feedback. So I would like double check and then make in same row for the same response from the same science content. Thank you so much.
Mhm. And then not the last, next, this is the questions actually. You use the different grader 7, 8, and 9. Is there any differences between those grader with this strategy? Since we know that they learn from different level. So I think that level 8 and 9 is more mature person. So doesn't it affect the strategy in your research?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions, Ms. Dr. Diana. Why the research mix all levels in junior high school? The main reason is to see the all level to the implementation about the strategy, and the strategy that implement is same for grade 7, 8, and 9. And student from grade 7, 8, and 9 to be one group as the integrated training. And another class from grade 7, 8, and 9 combine into one group to be spread training, even though they learn different science content. But in this research, we make sure the teacher already make sure deliver the science content with meta-affective and meta-cognitive strategy. This is the reason why we use 3 levels to make sure as the representative all levels in junior high school.
So you did a research on how the maturity or the students, the more grader they are, the more mature they are to this strategy. So you did research on this, yeah?
Yeah.
This is psychology, yeah? I mean that more grader students have more experience in learning and more experience in handling the emotions.
Charity. Okay, so better if we add more in elaboration in chapter 4, but the maturity.
It takes, I don't know, it's up to you and your promoters. Yeah?
Okay.
It's not necessary. You said that we neglected the maturity, or we neglected the psychological aspect of the maturity of the students. That's fine.
Okay, thank you for the questions. But we have already published one kind of the article related with the meta-affective profile in junior high school, and we see the differences of the changes of the maturity based on the meta-affective, and we see more grader, more majority. But we can find in negative affective, specifically about the angry, this is same. In which
is angry or more angry with the highest level of the student?
The same. They say they know this is the angry and how to regulate, but they cannot maintain. They cannot manage the angry. But for the another affective, the more grader level, more maturity for the affective.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your explanations. And then the last question is, since your instruments are questionnaire, how you can make sure that student answer is consistent? So you're not, your data is not biased by inconsistency of students' answer.
Okay, thank you so much for the question, Ms. Dr. Diana. This is in line with the how to make sure the students' answer in our research. This is not biased. because we use the questionnaires. The first one, that's our strategy that's related with the scale, For the meta-affective and meta-cognitive, based on the literature review before, we find 5 scales, but based on our considerations to make not biased, we make a 6 scale, because if 5, this student can choose in the middle one. So we give 6 scales, but for the transformative competencies, 5 scales. This is one kind of the strategy when the student asks, read the sentence and then try to answer in different scale. When they answer the meta-affective, oh, this is 6 scale, so to be consideration. But when they answer the transformative competencies, 5 scales. And also another one, the strategy is by statistical testing. Before we come to the different statistical testing, we have already analyzed by normality and homogeneity to make sure this data homogeneous and normal, and then we can follow up by statistical testing by t-test. This is our strategy.
Yeah. Your data is ordinal or numeric? In your SPSS.
In the SPSS,
You use SPSS, right?
yes,
yeah.
we use SPSS and then input 1, 2 up to 6 and up to
the data is 1 to up to 6 or up to 5. Is it ordinal or numeric when you put the data into the SPSS?
I guess this is a numbering.
Yeah,
It's totally
that's correct number, because your data is not ordinal. Yeah, it's just coding, right?
yes, coding.
Code is code, not a score. Okay. The last one is since your results of your research is for 2 aspects, metacognitive and meta-affective. You mentioned about it takes long time for students to have this strategy, to have this competency, not sufficient. The training takes long time to develop meta-affective, long time to develop metacognitive, but you didn't recognize, you didn't put the recommendations about this in your chapter 4. Yeah, so maybe your data is not difference because this unfamiliar, this not sufficient training, there is times limitations. What do you suggest from this result? So other person want to use your strategy will find better results when they put your suggestions, when they apply your suggestion. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Dr. Diana. So I can add in the recommendations what the strategy, the best strategy for the research when the research focus on students meta-affective. How long time need at least?
Not only the research, because this should be in implementations of the real teaching, right?
Yeah. This is also based on the
not only on the research, real teaching. So I may use your strategy for developing my students meta-affective and meta-cognitive. But since you have lots of things not sufficient in your research, so I can use your suggestion instead your results.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Dr. Diana. Thank you so much for the feedback.
I think that's all, Prof. Nuryani, Prof.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Diana. So now I would like to invite Professor Minsu to give question or comment to Lilit Rusyati. Please.
Yep. Thank you so much. And actually, other professors have asked many important questions, so it's very few questions remaining. So I have only 2 questions and recommendation. So first of all, you use the pre and post experiment design, right?
Yes.
And your sample is 100 student, right? Yeah, and so when you check the pre-post, the mean comparison, for example, some student like pre-score is low, but in the post-test is high. That is increase, and some student may decrease. So if those cases are in the group, the group, then average is usually doesn't show any the significant change.
Yes.
So I mean, there are so many different trajectory in your data or not, So if you 100 student or student have increased their metacognitive or meta-affective score, then you can have the significant increase. But actually, if we have 100 students, so diverse cases there. So I like to recommend you to see like the individual student, their pattern. So who have the higher score in the post test, who is lower score in the post test, and what's the difference between those two done? You can use many the clustering analysis method, or just you can just increase group, decrease group. You can make 2 groups using like the distract the kind of the post test minus pre test score. Yeah. So, or you can use some other, the program. So anyway, you can make the group to show their trajectory, and you can see, the characteristics of those groups, like who have the higher score in post test, who is lower score in post test. That's the one, the option. So basically, your result shows there is no significant difference between pre and post, right?
Yes, not
Yeah, that
significant.
might be because there might be some students who have decreased their score in the post test. Think about it, 100 students shows very diverse pattern, and not all students like your the class.
Yeah.
It's not, this is very few students like the extra classes. So we need to see their pattern, not just average the difference of average score with the 100 students. And maybe you need to later, maybe you can do the further analysis, and I think that's very good. If you still, then if you did you do the further analysis still same result, that's okay, yeah. But we need to double check. And then you can refer. I can send you some example of the analysis, yeah. So I have observed so many cases in that case, like same pre-post, no difference, but they're very clearly different. The group, increased group, we call it increase and decrease group. Yeah, I have observed a lot. So maybe you might have the cases. And another one is that this is a recommendation. So later you can do the funnel analysis, and I can advise you some, the method. And I'm concerned about you have the 3 instruments, right? Meta-affective, metacognition, and the transformative, that instrument. Though all are the recurse-based, recurse care. But I'm worried about, your data show clearly the difference between meta-affective and metacognition, because both are related to the kind of affective, because self-evaluation of their competence and their feeling. So it's really related to the responders, the characters. So if you do some dimensionally test, I don't know, both you did the reliability analysis and those results shows very good result, and I believe those the instrument is very reliable. But if you cannot find very clear dimensionality between meta-affective and metacognition, maybe you need to carefully approach those analyses. Because when you did you check the correlation between meta-affective and meta-cognition, the scores? So did you check the correlation between meta-affective and meta-cognition?
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Ha, for the recommendations and also for the questions. For the data, there is not yet do the correlation testing, but in the preliminary study we have already. So in this research data, not yet to do correlation testing by statistical.
Yeah. So I concern, if you, for example, basically you want to divide meta-affective and metacognition in separate dimension, right? And then you argue those are clearly different things, but your data shows those scores are very high correlated to each other. Your argument is very weak. So first of all, you need to see the correlation between meta-affective and metacognition score. But even though you have high correlation, that does not mean both are same dimension. For example, mathematics score, science score, usually highly correlated to each other. But we can say mathematics test is mathematics and science exam is science exam. So high correlation does not mean those are one dimension, but usually we need to test that one to make the further evidence and just in case. And then that's the one thing. And the second thing is that so you need to do the ratio analysis, right? So I see the person reliability and item reliability. So you did the ratio analysis, and there might be a lot of the dimensionality test. So when you have the WinStabs file, control file, right? The notepad file. Actually, when you see the program, there are many dimensionality tests and the mean square. Have you heard mean square? The item text, yeah, mean squares, and so that you can see how students respond the instrument. So maybe some student just randomly, maybe there are many students who respond randomly, right? And just 3, 3, 3, 3, and just randomly 1, 3, 5. There should be. So, or some student, many students may have misunderstanding of the items. So they misunderstood the item, the meaning of item. So then case is usually you will have the very poor mean square. So you need to check the mean square first, and then all item looks good, and dimensionally test, and meta-affective, all item are toward one dimension. Those information support your the data. so my, just to summarize, so you must have the control file because you show the person and item reliability, and go to the Wins tabs, and there is dimensionality test button. Just click, then there is dimensionality result. Then you can report that one. And also in the mean scale also there is. So both results just report. Then, so even though, if you have very poor results, then maybe you need to remove those certain items, or you need to remove certain data. So there is still the many the good solutions. So you don't have to worry about that. Just take the such evidence in order to strengthen your the evidence. So I think those further analysis make your dissertation is more is better and more stronger. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Ha. So I need to identify more about the mean square and dimensionality by using Ross model to prove maybe this is the possibility to remove the data or the response.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the recommendation, Prof.
And also the recap. The recap, so it's every student data should be checked first, and then we can which one is the highest and the lowest, and so on. It's also, I have told you to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Nuryani.
Yeah.
So I would like add recap for each student in each group in spread and trend to see which group can high and low the changes of the post and pre-test. Thank you so much, Professor.
Is there any question or comment, Prof. Minsu?
Oh yeah. So that's all. Yeah.
That's all. So thank you very much. Yeah? Thank you very much. Yeah. So now I would like to invite Prof. Ari Widodo, please.
Thank you. Just try to. I'm thinking to the results that it seems that the training does not bring significant improvement in terms of students' metacognitive as well as meta-affective. So I'm thinking that the timing of the training might be an issue. You did not conduct. You provide the training at the middle of the semester, and you.
During the pandemic?
No, during the middle of the semester.
For March and April. Yeah, belong to the school syllabus in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's in the middle of the. So I'm wondering if the training was conducted in the beginning of the school year, and that might be bring more positive. And also if the training is providing when the student start a new school year in September, for example, we are in the first week we provide them training of metacognitive and meta-affective. I guess that the result will be different. That's my guess. Why? Because students are just coming to the school, and then we provide them some training on the meta-affective and metacognitive. I think that's the reason. The result might be a bit different. Again, then that's about it. And then secondly, you have done the training actually quite long. So it's 8 weeks. 8 weeks or something?
9 meetings.
Nine meetings. So it's quite long actually. But maybe not long enough to develop the competency on the metacognitive and meta-affective. So if we have time, to try to change our strategy changing our strategy, conducting the training for year 7, for example, starting from the first school year in September. And then we try to follow up throughout the semester and then throughout the year, for example. That might be the result can be different because they are we train them seriously and at times. And also we may need to repeat the training, not only just once at the beginning. Because whether our training was just once at the beginning, isn't it? Or for the spirit training. I think if we repeat it every new semester, that we may expect it because with the times, I think that's just my some of my ideas that how we may. It's not for to change your research now, but I mean for your future research, you can do that. Okay. I think that's all, Bu Nuryani. Thanks for the time. Yeah.
Do you need the answer from Lilit?
No, just suggestion. But she wants to answer this one.
Yeah. Thank you
so
very
much. Thank you so much, Professor Ali, for the recommendations related with the durations of the training for the repeat training and start to the first year and then clarify or add more in the new semester. Thank you so much, Professor Ali.
Yes, thank you. So how about Prof. Ida? Are you still have any question, Prof. Ida?
Okay, thank you. I think enough. Thank you, Bu Nur.
Yeah, thank you. So it's my turn now, yeah? So I wonder why you mentioned 10 meta-cognitive and 10 strategies and 10 meta-affective strategies. But as I look through, only 8 competence, 8 strategies from 2 dimensions. Yeah. So why you change a little bit from 10 to 8? What's the reason? That's the first question. I would like to clarify about that, please.
Thank you so much, Professor Nuryani, for the questions. This is related with the number of the strategies. In the strategies should be 10, but in the dimension, there are 8 on sub-dimensions of metacognitive. The reason why we add more in the strategies because there are several sub-dimensions in metacognitive should be not only one implementations need more than one strategy. So we can elaborate one sub-dimension to be more than one strategies. This is the reason, Prof. Nuryani.
So, as we know now that mostly we discuss about education for sustainable development. Do you think your research will related or are related to this issue?
Thank you so much for the questions for Professor Nuryani. This is related with the sustainable development. This is the current issue in this research. So is it this research can support or in line with the sustainable development goals? The question is yes, because one kind of the variable in this research is transformative competencies. And this is also belongs to OECD, and OECD, this is elaborate from the PhD or to create the future and skill in education 2030. So one kind of the skills they argue the transformative competencies can belong to the student to prepare them to navigate their lives and also their world to provide for the new world after school.
Yeah. Especially the adaptability. Yeah, this is the one of 8 competencies in SDGs. Yeah, so you can explicitly state there too, I think. So I think it's enough for me. Yeah, so now we can discuss about the result. Yeah, so please, Ms. Lilit, would you please stay away from us for a moment? So we want to discuss.
Thank you so much, Professor Nuryani.
Good afternoon, Miss Lilit.
Good afternoon, Professor
Yeah.
Nuryani.
Are you ready with the result?
Sure, inshallah.
So,
Thank you.
all of us agree that you are going to the second examination for the open session, but with some revisions. Maybe you have heard all of the recommendation from each of the of us, and we agree based on the appointment that we agree your open the examination will be held on 3rd of February, 9 o'clock up to 11. Are
Thank
you
you,
ready?
Professor Nuryani.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Ida. Thank you, Professor
So-
Ali. Thank you, Miss Dr. Diana. Thank you, Professor Ha.